here is the news afternoon. First, the highlights. Legacy government restates commitment to building favorable atmosphere for businesses to thrive. Federal government moves to reverse medical tourism, unveils cancer facility in Enugu. On the front in Israel, United States negotiators leave Gaza ceasefire talks in Qatar. And in sports, Confederation of African Football appoints Namibian referee for 2024 WAFCON final between Nigeria, Morocco. And now the details. I am Mike James. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reiterated his conviction that Lagos is open for business, saying that his administration is striving to create an atmosphere that allows businesses to thrive. The governor made this known through the Deputy Governor Obafemi Hamzat while receiving the representatives from the Georgia House of Assembly led by Almaz Dagash in Lagos. Governor Sanwo-Olu said the country has a federal government that is intent on changing the narratives of doing everything to stabilize the nation's currency instead of the usual fluctuations, removing subsidies, among other measures. He restated the efforts of Lagos State in trying to liberalize everything and to make sure that all processes are automated, stressing that the government is building a broadband network across the state to ensure that all the public schools, public institutions have broadband access. While emphasizing the market attractiveness of the state, the governor said though the state only occupies 0.4% of the land mass of Nigeria, it houses 10% of the population. In a determined move to promote inclusive healthcare and curb the spread of stigma associated with HIV and AIDS, Lagos State government, through the Lagos State AIDS Control Agency, LSACA, has organized a sensitization campaign specifically targeted at persons with hearing and visual impairments. The sensitization outreach held at Alausa Ikeja underscores LSACA's commitment to adopting inclusive strategies in HIV prevention, public awareness, and stigma reduction among vulnerable and often overlooked populations. Speaking at the opening ceremony, Chief Executive Officer of LSACA, Folakemi Animashao, reaffirmed Lagos State government's dedication to ensuring that no one is left behind in the management and control of HIV and AIDS in the state. She emphasized that people with disabilities, particularly hearing and visually impaired, often face systemic barriers in accessing health information and services, increasing their risk of HIV infection and exposure to stigma. Animashao assured the public that LSACA remains resolute in its mission to expand access to life-saving HIV services, strengthen health systems, and ensure that no individual community is left behind in the state's ongoing HIV and AIDS response. Now to the rest of the story. The federal government has restated its determination to end medical tourism by strengthening and equipping existing health facilities as well as providing the right manpower. Minister of Health and Social Welfare Muhammad Pate, who was accompanied by the Minister of Finance and Economy Wale Edu, and his Information and National Orientation counterpart Mohammed Idris, stated this at the unveiling of an additional linear accelerator and oncology infrastructure upgrade at the University of Nigeria Teaching Hospital, Ituku, Osala, Enugu State. Pate said the President Bola Tinubu administration is passionate about changing the quality of healthcare in Nigeria and had, in the last 2 years, doubled the health budget, stressing that from about 1.7 billion naira last year, the budget was increased to about 2.3 billion naira this year. He stated that the president means well for the people of Nigeria and had approved the installation of a modern linear accelerator in each of the country's geopolitical zones, based on his realization that the major illness that takes Nigerians abroad was cancer. The Lagos State chapter of the All Progressives Congress, APC, has urged Nigerians to remain discerning and to reject hollow coalitions built on ambition rather than substance. The Lagos APC, in a statement signed by its spokesperson Sheye Oladejo, says the future of this country lies in tested leadership, credible policies, and a united national direction. The party says it is irrevocably committed to deliver on its social contract and remains focused on delivering good governance, consolidating national reforms, and supporting the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu, stating that no amount of political gimmickry can derail its course. It notes that the APC government at various levels will not be distracted by political rabble-rousers whose alliance has a short lifespan. The APC adds that at a time when Nigeria is on the path of tough but necessary reforms under the leadership of President Tinubu, real patriots are expected to rise above partisan and contribute constructively. Meanwhile, Speaker of the Lagos State House of Assembly, Mudashiru Obasa, has urged the new national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Nentawe Yilwada, to ensure party unity. Obasa made this call in a congratulatory message issued by Chief Press Secretary Dave Agbola. The Speaker described Yilwada as well suited for the role, commending his long-standing service in academia and contributions to Nigeria's digital development. He noted Yilwada's time as ICT Director at the Federal University of Agriculture, Makurdi, and consultancy work with UNICEF, EU, and the World Bank. Obama highlighted his roles as a resident electoral commissioner and Minister of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction. He urged the new chairman to apply his vast experience in leading the APC forward, expressing confidence in Yilwada's blend of technocratic and political leadership. And in some foreign news, Israeli and U.S. negotiators have decided to leave Gaza's ceasefire talks in Qatar's capital, Doha, with Washington accusing Hamas of not acting in good faith. In a statement, U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff said the decision to bring the team home from Doha for consultations was made after the latest response from Hamas, which clearly shows a lack of desire to reach a ceasefire in Gaza. The Israeli government did not say what triggered its withdrawal, but a senior Israeli official was quoted in local media as saying there was no collapse in the negotiations. Hamas said it was surprised by Witkoff's remarks and that it was keen to continue negotiations. All sides involved in the talks, including mediators, admit that wide gaps remain on key issues. At least 59,106 people have been killed in Gaza since the Israeli military launched a campaign in Gaza in response to the Hamas-led attack on southern Israel on October 7, 2023, in which about 1,200 people were killed and 251 others were taken hostage. And now sports news. The Confederation of African Football, CAF, has appointed Namibian rep Ansino Twaya to be in charge of proceedings when host Morocco trade tackles with the Super Falcons in the WAFCON 2024 final in Rabat on Saturday. Twaya becomes the first match official from the Southern African country to take charge of a WAFCON final in history. She was selected by the Continent Football Governing Body following her exceptional performance during the ongoing competition. Twaya will be assisted during the final by Alice Umutesi from Rwanda, who will serve as assistant referee on one, while Taraba Mboji from Senegal will act as assistant referee 2. That was our news at noon. Just before we go, remember, speed thrills but kills. Please avoid excessive speed. You can follow us and like all our various social media platforms: X, Traffic Radio 961, Facebook, Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM, Instagram, Lagos Traffic Radio 961. Subscribe and watch our news and programs. It's live on YouTube, Traffic Radio 961. You can also visit our website, www.trafficradio961.ng. Listen to Lagos Traffic Radio on my Lagos app for timely updates. And did you know that under the Sanwo-Olu administration, 1,050 rural women received intensive training in boosting output in agricultural production, and the beneficiaries were given equal access to markets? Well, you can get more details on this. It's on the Lagos Government website. And to end the news, here are the highlights of the major stories. Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu has reiterated his conviction that Lagos is open for business, saying that his administration is striving to create an atmosphere that allows businesses to thrive. The federal government has restated its determination to end medical tourism by strengthening and equipping existing health facilities as well as providing the right manpower. We also told you that Israeli and U.S. negotiators have decided to leave Gaza's ceasefire talks in Qatar's capital, Doha, with Washington accusing Hamas of not acting in good faith. And in sports, the Confederation of African Football, CAF, has appointed Namibian referee Antino Twayan Yukwa to be in charge of proceedings when host Morocco trade tackles with the Super Falcons in 2024 final in Rabat on Saturday. For contact with the news, send a message to info@trafficradio61.ng. That ends the news broadcast compiled by Abiola Fagbolagun. Thank you for listening, Lagos. My name is Mike James. Beautiful afternoon to you.